It is still this morning on ITV. It's time now to go to our talking point here. We take a look at what the federal government did yesterday when it joined other countries to ban Boeing 737 MAX 8 and 9 from flying into Nigeria's airspace. One very good one. We look at how that can be sustained, and also we take a quick look at Ethiopian, where two-story building collapsed yesterday and left 7 persons die and many others injured. And also learned that that building had been marked for demolition severally and it never happened. And also, why would the Ministry of Education allow unapproved school in such an environment? All these will be coming through the eyes of a licensed estate surveyor and valuer. Of course, it's fit to look at how government should put its feet on ground to ensure that substandard buildings don't find their ways on our streets. And also, he is an aviation freak. He also fit to look at the banning of Boeing 737 from coming into Nigerian airspace. Not even the country, but it won't fly on Nigerian airspace. Very good morning, Godwin Ike.
Hi, good morning, Joe.
How you doing, sir?
How's your week been going?
Well, we're cool.
And good morning, Gabriel.
To our program.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, quickly, let's look at Ethiopian, where two-story building collapsed and left 7 deaths and many injured.
Yeah, Joe, I get really very upset when we begin to cry and shout hulabalu when something that we know will definitely come happens. And then we begin to shed, crocodile tears, and that's when you see senior civil servants who are saddled with the responsibility to govern this nation and keep things working well. That's when you see them running helter-skelter. That's when you hear them, issuing fire brigade orders. Oh, get this done, get that done. I mean, we can't go on this way as a people and as a nation. We run ourselves very irresponsibly. And we must accept the fact that we conduct ourselves in an irresponsible manner so that we can change. You see, if we don't accept it, we will never change. And this kind of thing will go on. I mean, it was quite sad yesterday that some civil servant, senior one for that matter, in Lagos State said, oh, we had marked that building and it was supposed to have been demolished, but the owner was resistant. Resistant? That's nonsensical. Who is the owner to resist an authorized government agency that is, has had an order signed off and sent to go and pull down a building that would soon slaughter, innocent, souls? And then you say, oh, because the man was resistant. Absolute nonsense. And this is the way we go on as a people and as a nation. And so when some, individual that really wants to put down his feet for us to get things done properly, comes on board, people scream and shout, oh, he's wicked, he's mean, this and that, just like we saw with Mr. President, when his opponents were using all sorts of things to accuse him of doing one thing or the other, when the man meant to put down his feet so that we can have some things done properly. If you want to govern and at the same time want the people on the other divide of lawlessness to be your friends, then you're not ready to govern. And I always ask anyone who bothers to know how this works, go take a look at the history of Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. Singapore used to be worse than this nation called Nigeria in terms of physical development, in terms of economy, in terms of everything that you could ever say. Singapore was a third world country, worse third world country than Nigeria. But this man called Lee Kuan Yew came into power, put down his feet and said, no, we can't go on this way. We must transform this nation. I have a dream for this nation. Everybody in Singapore hated him. Go and read his history. Nobody liked him. Nobody wanted to hear about him. But he put down his feet, stood his ground. Today,
He celebrated.
by the time he died, Singaporeans of all ages cried and poured their love in retrospect, for a man that brought them from third world to first world. And that's exactly what we must begin to do. Now, coming back, directly to your question, it's extreme irresponsibility and unnecessary slaughter of human lives. I mean, we have different professions. I belong to one of them as a licensed surveyor and valuer, apart from my in aviation. And I insist professionals should be allowed to do their job. And if we professionalize Nigeria, even the Merua, the one that carries water on his shoulders and distributing, in a neighborhood where there is no, clean water, they should be professionalized. They should be. Let me land on this. Joe, quickly, please. Let me land on this, because this is the problem we have here. I am saying even the Meruas should be recognized as giving service and adding to the GDP of this nation, and the cost of the services should be known, and anybody that toys with them should be reined in. And until we have a society where we have division of labor and everyone is respected and everyone is given a chance to add value and earn income from adding value. If we don't do it, we continue with this kind of nonsensical mess that we have on our hands.
At what point should government come in? Is it at the point where the building is already erected, or
no.
the foundation?
From even before the foundation is dug, you must first of all get a professional architect. And the architect does his job. It's not even an architect that finishes a building plan. He does his job. He passes it on to the electrical. He passes who passes on to mechanical and who passes on to structural. There are different categories of engineers. You have the electrical engineers. You have the structural engineers. You've got even the environmental engineers. These people are all there. If we insist on having things done professionally, before you dig a ground in the name of foundation, all these people would have, put in their bid in the building plan, and especially the structural engineers. They must take a look at what the architect has designed, and then work out a structure that will sustain that design. Because an architect can draw whatever he likes, give it all the configuration that will give you all the ambience and give you all the beautiful looks. If a structural engineer does not use his knowledge to work out a way to put on the columns, the pillars, and the type of rods and the sizes of rods that should be put in different positions, you can't guarantee that beautiful ambience will stand.
Okay.
You can't guarantee that.
Are we to totally absolve the engineers of the blame whenever a building comes down? Because we know from experience too that there are some of them who at one point or the other during the process of the building would like to make the most out of whatever they're putting on ground in terms of buying less inferior materials than from the ones prescribed.
It's all part of what we're discussing right now. Now, it's not right to say we single out the engineers and blame them for what's going on. More often than not, you'll be shocked and you'll be surprised. These buildings have no approved plans. More often than not. And it's all about corruption. It's a huge conspiracy. And somebody somewhere must have known that the wrong thing had been done there. And you look the other way because that individual has been settled. Otherwise, explain to me why an official of Lagos State government found the face and the audacity to look the world in the eyes and say, we had marked this for demolition, but that the owner was resistant. Did you hear that? We had marked it for demolition, but the owner was resistant. How? Resistant to who? To government. So an individual who's broken the law is now more powerful
Than the government.
than a government agency that is,
Than the enforcement agency.
yes, enforcement agency that is saddled with responsibility to ensure that the laws are kept. We are silly, very silly in this nation. And somebody must help this nation put an end to this nonsense. We can't go on this way. And so, if the proper thing has been done, you won't have this on your hands. And what's more,
But
age
how
gap.
how can we prevent, it has been happening over and over.
For as long as we remain irresponsible, it will go on. For as long as we remain irresponsible, it will go on, Joe. The good nation we are looking for won't fall from the skies. Never. We've got to sit up as a people and get serious as a people. Every individual ensuring that what happens within a small circle that he or she has influence is the right thing. Don't say, oh, who am I? This small one I'm doing here, of what impact is it? Joe, leave me, let them do as they like. No! It's a very horrible mentality, very horrible way to think. Insist that that little circle where you have influence, that what's going on there is the right thing.
But
Then what you find is that they add up and give us the effect we are looking for as a nation.
as an estate surveyor,
Yes.
if you are to penalize, government officials for failing to enforce, that demolition, and of course the owner of the building for cutting corners and, building a death trap, what will it be?
Joe, first and foremost is that even that officer that made that announcement should resign from his duty immediately. First of all, he has to, you see, that's the issue. Elsewhere, if a public official made a mistake and something went wrong, the very first response is throw in the towel. You resign because your integrity has been messed up. You're not worth the seat you're occupying anymore. That's the number one thing. Throw in the towel. The person has got to resign. And then the law enforcement agencies will now come in, find out where laws have been broken, rein the individual in, charge them to court. A quick one, not one of these ones that we do here, for 3, 4, 5 years, you're trying one case that should be able to come to an end in less than a month. I mean, we are joking as a people and as a nation. We've got to put this joke to an end. We're joking.
Okay, well,
And then the other question you just asked about the individual who did the wrong thing in the building, he should spend the rest of his life in jail. Lives have been lost. So rather than talk about murder, we'll be kind enough to deal with manslaughter. And that's life imprisonment. If we don't begin, no one will get serious. No one will get serious. We've become a laughing stock. A nation made of very knowledgeable and intelligent people, men and women. And then we go on conducting ourselves in such irresponsible fashion, and we become a laughing stock for the world. Big nation, wealthy nation, oil-selling nation, with everything needed to be one of the greatest in the world. And every time all we get out of this nation is bad news. Come on. Come on.
Now, we saw the videos yesterday, and you must have seen them too. What is the standard when you have emergencies like this? Because the number of people that were on site, were even much more than obstructing the people whose duty it was, to rescue people. It became very difficult to even get people out of the rubble and get them to an ambulance. What is the standard that should be followed? What needed to have been done before the rescue operation starts?
Once you have an emergency somewhere, no matter what sort of emergency, the first thing law enforcement agents...
everybody trying to...
the first thing law enforcement agents do is to condemn off the site. get a red tape and run round the circle of, exclusive area.
And that tells everybody that this is a restricted area.
A restricted area. That's the number one thing that is done. And then, of course, you're moving all the heavy equipment required, moving all the specialists, who carry out the rescue. If you need more hands from people who are milling around, outside the barrier, you can pick and choose strong, men and women who are willing to help to come out. Not to have this kind of crowd obstructing, the rescue itself. We saw that again when Dana Air crashed, in Lagos. I mean, granted that at the time in question, everybody had died, and it was obvious that no survivor was in that airplane. But imagine for 1 second that a few survivors needed help and needed to be rushed to hospital. There was absolutely no way for an ambulance or even a helicopter to come around and pick up with the kind of thing we saw there. It's the attitude, and it's the level of lawlessness and inability of enforcing officials.
Why we expect the relevant authority to take adequate measures at ensuring that it doesn't happen, and for buildings that have failed ballistic tests to be pulled down. Let's look at the aviation now, where it also has to do with lives. 159 lives lost, of course, due to that ill-fitted aircraft, Boeing 737 MAX 8 series. Because the federal government came out yesterday after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting to say we have joined other nations to ban that, category of Boeing 737 from not only entry our country, but should not be seen on our airspace.
Oh yeah, I was quite impressed and quite pleased of that action. Even before then, I had an invitation to TVC exactly the very next day after the accident. I think the accident took place on Sunday, right? And then by Monday midday, TVC had me live, and this sort of question, came up, and I made it clear, very clear, the time to put an end to MAX finding its way to Nigeria was that moment that I was speaking. And so when eventually yesterday after the FEC meeting, that announcement came, I was very pleased. I said, this is how to be proactive. This is really how to run government. We've got to know that serious matters are serious matters and must be taken seriously and must be dealt with all the seriousness that they require. And so it was a good move, very good move, and very good news that the government of President Muhammad Buhari considered necessary to put a complete ban until the world gets to know exactly what's going on. But even when the world is waiting to know exactly what's going on, I must tell you that a little bit of where I didn't quite agree completely with the Honorable Minister, let's wait and hear from Boeing, the manufacturers, what they're going to come up with, and I want to tell you, Joe, Boeing, if left alone, will never come up with anything meaningful that would ensure that this won't happen again.
Because that category is defective.
I will give you the history of what's going on, because even people who are making remarks here and there and giving analysis here and there do not really know the foundation, the evil foundation of what has brought us this far, and why this airplane called MAX 8 is messing around and slaughtering people. Now there is this competition between Airbus France and Boeing of the United States of America, and so it used to be Boeing ahead of Airbus, and suddenly Airbus took the lead. And so when they do one thing, Boeing wants to go ahead and do the other. And in the process of that competition, Boeing found itself in a situation where you have schedule that is intended to maintain, quality and safety. But if they find that they are not catching up with the timing to release a particular model, they cut corners and shortchange, the process. And in that way, they compromise safety. Now, Airbus first came up with the A320, the one they call A320 CEO. And quickly, Boeing came up with 737, NG, known as new generation, in order to match those advantages that Airbus built in the A320 CEO. Soon after, Airbus came up with A320 Neo, the NEO, and then fixed this particular engine that is creating this problem, called the LEAP engine. There was Boeing that first, not Boeing, Airbus, that first had it on their A320 Neo. Well, the new thing about the LEAP engine, I'm going to say LEAP, is LEAP. I'm going to in a moment give you the full meaning of what they're talking about. But looking at that engine, it's said to have a very large fan and what they call higher bypass ratio. The bypass. Let me use this miniature to explain to you with this engine popping out. You see this engine popping out this way. It's exactly the mounting of that max. And I'll tell you the difficulty it is creating by being in this kind of position that it is. Well, first of all, around this port, you have that of the LEAP engine quite large, and then the space left from the fan that sucks in the air, it has higher bypass. That is where air can move in directly without going through the normal channel that the fans send them in. Now, it's discovered that when you have a higher bypass ratio, the engine is more fuel efficient and has greater thrust, which gives you real power and speed. Now, when Airbus got it in their A320 Neo, it went around the world that, woo, this is it. Low fuel consumption, more profit to be made, and everything else that you can talk about, and people were trooping in and buying, a whole lot of
Airbus. So are you saying the creation of 737 Max 8?
It's a response. It's Boeing's response to the creation of A320 Neo.
And all right, the struggle for supremacy.
Struggle for supremacy. It's all about money. And then Boeing, in response, moved from 737 new generation, that is the NG, to Max. And then what was more, they went to the same company, CFM International, that makes these engines, and picked up the same LEAP, engine.
Airbus had.
Yes. And then this time around, they installed theirs. Their engineers installed theirs in a way that they will have better performance in their own imagination and lower fuel consumption that will be better, more efficient than that of Airbus Neo.
But
in the process.
But when it happened in Indonesia and analysis came up, many people, especially like people like you, said that something that is installed in...
I'm coming to that.
Automatic...
Yes, that the MCAS. The MCAS.
If you don't deactivate it...
Well, hold on, I'm getting quickly. I know we're probably running out of time, but let me quickly get to that, for you. So they now install theirs with the engine. Normally, the older 737NG had an engine that which board were almost flushed with the edge of the wings. Yeah, and that was quite stable. But in order to give it better, in the imagination of the engineers, better efficiency and lower fuel consumption so that it will be better than Airbus Neo, they fixed it in a way that it popped out, just like this one you're looking at is popping out. My viewers, you're seeing what I mean by the engine popping out. Not only that they did that, they also extended the nose wheel in order to have it raised up a little bit to keep this huge engine mounted here off the ground. Okay, but it came with a problem. The problem became that each time you put power, because of this, the way this thing is mounted here,
it popped out.
Yes, it gives you a high pitch. It automatically, as soon as you put on power, it pushes the airplane in a high pitch, increasing what is known as the angle of attack, which as a particular angle, the plane begins to lose airspeed. And like I've taught you on this program, anytime every fixed wing airplane has a minimum speed that keeps it in the air. Once you fall below that minimum speed, the plane stops flying. And when it stalls, no matter how much power or engine power you put, the plane just stops flying. You know what it does? Vertically, it comes down and crashes.
Except you have height advantage.
Except if you have height advantage and you realize you are stalling and you're falling off the sky, you try and push, take a dive, gain some speed, level off, and begin slowly again to rise up into the sky and begin once again to fly. But if you're on a low level, you are doomed. Once you stall, you must crash. M-U-S-T, must. You must crash if you're on a low level and you stall. Now, the sad thing that Boeing did was that, realizing that their design had that issue, they now put in a software known as MCAS, which is Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. Maneuvering, that the MCAS means Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. That is to say, the character of your maneuver is being augmented automatically by some software that is installed in the system. And because Boeing had no means of having that software certified by the appropriate world body, they wrapped it up in secrecy. It was wrapped up in secrecy. And those that they sold the airplanes to, they didn't tell them that MCAS was there and what it would be doing. It wasn't even in the manual. In the manual that is usually called FCOM. FCOM is FCOM, which means Flight Crew Operations Manual. Flight Crew Operations Manual, FCOM. All airplanes are delivered with FCOM, which if you have issues, you quickly make reference to the appropriate section and see what the manufacturers are saying about that, those issues, and pilots will quickly, even in flight, take steps to ensure that they correct that experience they are having. But there we are. Boeing did not tell anyone that he had that software in the system. And the whole idea was that Boeing, knowing that this installation they did here in order to reduce fuel consumption, make more money, get airliners who are looking for ways to make profit. I mean, if you buy less fuel for the same distance, you save money, you make more profit. And then, of course, orders were coming in such a short time. Over 5,000 airplanes ordered around the world, and almost 350 already delivered. And it was all billion dollar mega bucks, what I now describe as blood money. And then the job of that MCAS was that each time, especially when you're taking off, and you have your full blast. Remember, in taking off, it's a full blast. You put on your full power. And as you are going, the likelihood, because of these popping out engines, is that your angle of attack.
Just take two more, one from me and one from Kuwait. It has happened. Who should be responsible for payment of compensation? Is it Ethiopian Airlines or Messrs. Boeing?
I am putting this whole thing, the buck begins and ends on the table of Boeing. Boeing must own up. If the world, that's why I said our honorable minister saying we should wait for Boeing. I am saying the world should stand up to Boeing. The world should stand up to Boeing. Boeing must own up and do what it has to do. Take full responsibility for all these deaths in both accidents. Because if in the first, when it happened in Indonesia, if pilots have been told, what to do, and even informed that such a software, was the excuse of Boeing for not telling the pilots, we don't want to inundate them with too much data or too much information. They already have a lot of job to do in the cockpit. So adding this information to their headache was unnecessary, since we had designed something that was perfect, something that will automatically correct what will make them stall and crash. We now know that the software is not as good as it's said to be. And each time there's a crash, they release what they call an advanced. When there was a crash in Indonesia, they quickly released the other software. They say this is an advanced one. Now that this has happened again, less than 24 hours after, they say, okay, we have yet another advanced software. We can't go on this way. As far as I'm concerned, this is trial and error.
Okay, now,
I'm playing with human lives.
Now, in automobile, when instances happen like this,
there's
always a recall.
Yeah, that's correct.
So now, what should be done, judging from the fact that over 300 have already gone out?
They all must be recalled, and my recommendation is that if they cannot find a way to bring back those engines to make MCAS unnecessary, then they should strip them and by the way, I promised you I was going to tell you the meaning of LEAP. It's known as Leading Edge Aviation Propulsion Engine.
I must thank you for coming. Thank you so much.
Leading Edge
Viewers will be
Aviation Propulsion.
From body decay,
so much more to be heard, but we'll keep it for next
and of course,
day.
He had so much expertise when it comes to the issue of aviation. He was among those in 2018 that participated in International Civil Aviation
2017.
And it was there that he was declared an aviation expert. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, there shall be time to look at what Star Times has for Nigerians today.